day it is?
It's Monday!
Oh, no, not Monday.
Wake up, Mr. Sleepy Pants.
Why not Monday?
Paging Dr. Sleeping Bird.
Mondays suck.
Hello, good morning.
Do not approach me when I'm sleeping.
Ugh, Mondays.
Why are you so grumpy?
Oh, I'm fine. I just need some coffee.
Can someone please just start talking?
You got it.
Showtime.
Good morning, DJ and PK. It's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Welcome in on a Monday morning. Our last weekend without college football for a long time. We did have some high school football, really compelling games there. Great week, too. Well, obviously, we had the other stuff going on. We had the PGA Tour. Great week for Wyndham Clark. He wins the BMW by 3 shots over Cantlay and by four over McIlroy. Terrible weekend for the Raiders. Ashton Jonty diving for a pass in practice and does something to his knee, leaves the field, getting aided off. Can't put any weight on it. Terrible. But that's the kind of news we get at camp this time of year. Not a good weekend for Real Salt Lake. Once again, they have a lead. Once again, they can't hold it. They lose 2-1 in Orlando. For more on what happened, well, let's get to Pablo Mastroeni and his post-game thoughts.
It was awesome. I'm so proud of these guys, man. Guys that haven't been getting a rep. Guys like Kobe, guys like Mason, guys like Luka Moisa, guys like Aiden, who's coming back, Lenny. These guys made Dom. Super proud. And, we got beat by a guy that they just acquired and, found the back of the net twice. Really fortuitous, but I thought we defended well. I thought tonight we played like a team. And that's why we do this. Those guys, Pablo was cramping at the end, Kobe was cramping at the end, but they stuck in there. And for me, there's a lot of positives to take from this game.
You mentioned they got fortunate, especially on that second goal, but sometimes you make your own luck. They spent a lot of time in the attacking third. I mean, a lot of time. You weren't winning many balls at the midfield. They clear it long, and it seemed like Orlando was winning 80% or 90% of them. Mm-hmm. What was going on there, and why did that happen? Because that seemed to lead to the goal. Yeah,
again, I think it's fatigue. I think these conditions are tough. We knew that we're going to be spread thin with 5 subs, given the amount of changes that we were going to make. But we're really thin at the moment, and that's that. I think that's the balance to strike. So, I think there's if we show a video of what could have been done better, the guys will say, yeah, that's what I meant to be doing. But when you take the conditions, maybe the lack of reps in the game, it's not going to turn out the same. And then having said that, we had a couple really good chances as well. So when teams are defending that high up the field, you're going to get your breaks. And I think we could have done, again, better on a couple chances to tie the game or go up a goal. But again, they finished theirs, and we missed some really good opportunities in front of goal. So that's how razor thin the margins are. And so that's why I could just go back to the performance. It was a gutsy performance from a lot of players tonight, stepping up and playing extremely well. And obviously they made a few changes at halftime. And I think their subs made the difference.
Dom seemed like every time he touched the ball, it was a square ball or a negative pass for half an hour. And then he scores the goal, and it seemed like the next 10 times he touched the ball, he was shooting or trying to take someone on and beat him. Was that just an example of one goal changing a guy's mentality?
I think so. I think Dom, and again, it was a part of our game plan with these guys. Like most teams in this type of condition, where they'll have energy to attack, not a whole lot of energy to defend. And so at times, I think we forced the issue and went forward when maybe we could, rotate them a few times. Because again, possession in our final third without chances on goal or without being a threat is essentially controlling the game defensively, is the way I look at it. And then when you suck them in, if you can connect 1 or 2 passes, you're gonna create some great breaks, and then it's decision making in those transition moments. But I think Dom kind of grew into the game. Found the right moments to keep square, go back. We wanted to rotate them, with their narrow shape. Did a good job of that, and then obviously sprung forward quite a few times and was dangerous. So I think, he had a really good performance.
Who decided Captain Catranas and why?
Well, we do a Kobo belt after every practice, a guy that exemplifies the type of character, mentality that we expect everyone to train at. And obviously, when you train with that type of mentality, you're also performing well. So, whoever's the best performer in the day, it has the right mentality. And Katranis has won that belt Wednesday night after the game, Thursday in training. It was really bright. So again, if we're going to do this, then it's got to be validated by performance and training and who we think has the right mentality to lead the group. And I thought tonight he had a really, really good game.
That ball Junqua got the assist on. Is that the kind of bravery you're talking about when you're talking about your back three attacking, making themselves be dangerous?
Yeah, that was a good example. Again, I thought the back line played extremely well, given the conditions. And Sam on that one play, picking out the back post, you can see he was already scanning when he hit the ball. Puts a great ball, and Dom's in a great position. And against back fours, we always know we're going to have a wing back free on the weak side. So it was a fantastic, again, executing a great play, a great ball, great finish.
Last one for me, the confidence in Lineker, since he was on yellow and since you were bringing on three attackers, I was sure he was going out, but he's the one you left in. You subbed everybody else. Did you think about taking him out, or what did you see that made you want to leave him in?
No, we just couldn't afford. Aiden we didn't know he was going to go more than 45. That was a pre-planned sub. We knew that Morgan was going to come in for Vic at some point, and so we needed one of the front three to go the distance. And so the yellow card was low on the list. I think he again, a young player cutting his teeth. I think he's doing a really, really good job. He really is, and the fact that he can last 90 minutes is something really important for our attacking group. Because the guys put it all out there. Very few of them can go the distance. But tonight I thought he was excellent.
Thanks, Pablo.
Yep.
A lot of offsides tonight. Was that something that Orlando was doing, or is that just a consequence of guys who haven't played together very much all trying to get vertical at the same time?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of both. They're holding the line at 3 times, a couple of those well. I think it's a great goal scoring opportunities. I think the important thing is that the guys are looking forward. And now it's about the timing of the runs, as you rightly pointed out. I said the same thing on the bench in the particular the first half, where it was unnecessary. Again, oftentimes you see the defenders, you can look across the line, and so I think it's a little bit of sharpness from that perspective. But I agree with you. There's too many offsides tonight.
And there was so much rotation, but if we could just shine a light on Kobe Henry. This is a player we've had for a while. I've been waiting a chance to see him with the first team. What did you make of his performance?
I thought he was excellent. I thought he was an excellent. I thought he, and again, I pointed him out to the group and what a teammate looks like. I asked him, when's the last time you started for this group? And he said, beginning of last year, right? And he stays there, works. And tonight, I thought in possession, out of possession, late in the game, getting in the box, the opportunity I think he had with a couple minutes left. I think that was Kobe anyway.
Yeah, it was.
So his contribution, I thought defensively he was really good. It's difficult when you have almost a winger type player on your side, but that just means that his communication with Dom and Saba was really good. I thought his interventions were really good. I thought his poise out of the playing out was really good. And so I'm so happy for the young man. In the 75th minute, he was cramping, and he was thinking about coming out. And I said, you have 15% more than you think, bud. You can hang in there. And so super proud of not only his performance but his mentality. And again, looking at this game, and like I told the guys, if this game doesn't make you aware that you have teammates that can compete at the same level as you, right? And that if we're going to be successful, we're going to do this as a team. We're in a tough spot at the moment, but performances like Kobe Henry, like Luka Moisa, like Aiden Herzakani, those are team performances. Those are the guys that haven't been getting a lot of reps, but step in there and do a great job. So again, just super proud of those guys in particular. Again, not an easy place to come play. They're a handful defensively, and the way they conducted themselves, I couldn't be more proud.
There's Pablo Mastroeni after RSL loses, and they are now winless in their last 7 games. They need Justin Glad to get healthy. They need a replacement for Xavier Gozo. That's for starters. Maybe they need a third or fourth guy. And I don't think Glad's coming back anytime soon. I think he's still out for a while. Emeka Nelly could be working out in a couple weeks, so that'd be a positive. He gets back to training here pretty quickly. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, Steve Bartle talking Utes. Stay with us. We're joined right now by Steve Bartle. Steve, good morning.
Morning, DJ. How we doing, man?
We're doing well. I got a couple questions for you here, a little positivity, a little negativity. Where would you like to start? A little lift up, a little positivity, or a little negativity, a little truth-telling? What do you think?
I'll let you tell me where to go.
We're going to start with a positivity, an affirmation in the morning. Are you ready?
I'm ready, sir.
Of what you know, and I know very limited access to the team at this point, of what you know, the position group that you believe should give Ute fans most help, that will bring them to their feet and have Rice-Eccles Stadium rocking, that position group is?
Wide receiver. Based on what we've seen, based on what we've heard, I think there's a lot of reason to be optimistic, confident, excited if you're a Utah fan to see this group in action. I think there's a lot behind what Utah has, and Braden Pagan, who comes to Utah from Utah State, that familiarity with McGiven and the offense, I think, is just going to do a lot for him. And the chemistry that has seemingly developed with Devin Dampier, by all accounts, sounds like it's at a really good place. So I think Utah has the sort of go-to receiver in Pagan that can produce week in, week out. And then, as we've learned throughout the offseason, this is a group that has some depth. There have been some surprising guys that have developed and progressed this offseason. One in particular is Nate Johnson, who's been around the program now a few years. He's really kind of settled in to this wide receiver role, and he's helped kind of solidify the depth, give Utah another option in that room. So Utah is coming into this season feeling like they probably have 4 or 5 really solid receivers, and then the depth behind them where you can sprinkle in and have guys available for you to step up at different points throughout the season as well.
Alex is going to have to host the rest of the show because I just blacked out twice. I didn't hear most of your answer. The first time you said the strongest position was wide receiver, and I just went straight. I just faded to black. I didn't hear anything. And when I came to, you just said they're 4 or 5 deep at wide receiver, and I passed out again. That was an unexpected answer. I hope Ute fans handled that on the freeway better than I did, because that could be a dangerous situation. Wide receiver, the best. So you're grading on a curve in part because that's been, well, let's be honest, that's usually been the position group that's been least likely to bring the stadium to its feet.
Yeah, it's interesting with what Utah still has in place, at running back and at quarterback with Devin Dampier and Bird Kirkland and Rayshawn Parker, in that running back room. I think the group that is just going to get this Utah fan base really excited is, like I said, the depth and ability in that wide receiver room. They have some guys that I think can really, I don't want to say shine, but I think this offense is going to shine a brighter light on that wide receiver room, some of the ability that they have in that group and the depth that they have in that group as well.
Well, you are echoing what Ron McBride said yesterday. He said he thought the key to that group, and he was right with you, he thought that there was unprecedented depth there, and he thought the key was bringing a new OC and bringing a position coach in, and they come from other schools. In the case of McGiven, he brought in players from his two previous schools, both San Jose State and Utah State, and he said they're known. There's relationships there. It's proven over time. They've practiced with these guys day in and day out and multiple games, and they know what they can do. There's no guessing. There's no suspecting. So, all right, I'm going to have to adjust and quit blacking out here. You and Mac are on the same page. I'm hearing the same stuff 2 days in a row. Perhaps I should trust two sources, right, Steve?
Perhaps you should, DJ. Perhaps you should.
All right. Let's go to the other side of the same coin. If I want to know the position group that's most likely to bring the place to its feet, now I want to know the position group that's most likely to have Ute fans putting their head in their hands. No, I paid to watch this. What happened? Where's that most likely?
I think this entire offseason, the biggest question that I got, the most consistent question that I got was centered around the defensive tackle room, the defensive line, and stopping the run.
Yep.
And, Utah went into the transfer portal. They brought in 3 defensive tackles from the portal. 2 of them have a good quality playing experience coming from Wyoming and San Jose State. Another one from Tennessee who played at times throughout his career there. But a lot of the expectations, I think, for just what the standard is with that room and that group in particular, there's some uneasiness still around that group. And based on what we've been able to kind of take away from our viewing sessions, we just haven't been able to come away with a lot to provide any sort of valuable progress report on that group. And so, it's going into the season kind of blind and kind of uncertain. There's, and coaches and players have talked about that group has stepped up. And, there's some pieces in that room, some players in that room that garner a lot of optimism and confidence in their long-term projection, optimism around what they can be this season, but it's still going to require them to step up into roles and into playing at a certain level on a week-in, week-out basis that we just don't know where that's at with that group. So I think that is, like you said, if there's a group that could potentially bring this fan base to their knees at times, given how things went at the end of the season last year, I think that that defensive line group, specifically when we're talking about stopping the run, I think that's the big question mark and concern for Utah fans going into the season.
Of all the answers you've ever given me, Steve, I rate that the number one answer. All our conversations on the air and off the air. You hit so many key points that I want to underline and put exclamation points after, and I think you're very smart. And I've always said this, and Alex, I'm going to say this to you now that you're producing our show a million times. Whenever you meet somebody and then they talk and then someone looks at you and they go, that person's really smart, what they mean is they agree with me. I think so-and-so is really smart. That means whatever you were talking about, doesn't matter if it's football or banking, politics, I don't know, whatever. When they say, the person walks away, that person's really smart, that means you agree with me. That's all that means. It doesn't mean anything about IQ. And I agree with what you said, and I thought you had a key phrase. What the standard has been. Everybody's here spoiled. Everybody here is spoiled. You need 2D tackles, you need 2D ends, except you don't, because it's an exhausting position to play. You're getting hit and beat up on by 300-pounders, and you're sprinting all the way to the sideline. You're trying to sprint upfield 10 yards. You got to turn and sprint back 15, 20 yards the other way. It's exhausting, so you have to have a third player and be able to rotate. And you get hit so much, there are going to be injuries, so you have to have a fourth player at both positions, or the coaches are privately going in the room and like, what are we going to do? Because they're anticipating going 8 deep. And we all stood in front of Kyle Whittingham multiple years, and he said, we're 9 deep, we're 10 deep. One year he said, we're 12. I got 12 guys I can trust on the D-line. And that is unheard of. That is not normal. Coaching staffs all across the country are just biting their fingernails thinking, who's guy 6, 7, 8, and who's guy 9, 10, just in case we really have a bad run of luck. And you don't usually know. And it is usually a massive question mark when you get deep into D-lines. And it stresses coaches out big time. And the standard here is so high. It's like, of all the things Kyle Whittingham did well, that's one of the best. The D-line was nails, rock solid year after year. Guys coming and going didn't matter. So, brilliant answer, Steve. Spot on. I mean, the wide receiver thing shocked me. I'm not going to kid you. But the D-line thing, that was straight money right there. That was brilliant.
I appreciate that, DJ. And look, like, to your point, you do need to have depth at the position, unlike you've had before. Mm-hmm. And what's making that difficult is everybody wants depth, and everybody is willing to pay a price to have that depth. And for Utah this year, they went in, like I said, they went into the portal. They brought in 3 guys that they feel pretty optimistic about, that they felt, coming to Utah could benefit from the development plan here, especially with Steve Saunders and this new, strength and conditioning program and how it sort of changed these guys physically. I think they're obviously counting on this young group and these transfers to come into the season. And, maybe they aren't playing at a really high level week 1, right? But this is a group that with experience, I think, can progress, week after week, month after month, and that sort of thing, where by the end of the season, it's a much different, much improved group. And you're going into next off season feeling good about this group. But as of right now, the concern is just, where's this group right now? What is it going to look like week 1, week 2, when Arkansas comes to Rice-Eccles? That's the big concern right now.
It's a normal amount of stress. I think a lot of coaching staffs have this. Utah's just been immune to it for a long time. But I think there's a lot of teams wondering, and a lot of teams, it'll be answered positively. They'll get to that depth, and guys will perform at a pretty good level, and it'll work out. But there's a lot of question marks at a lot of schools across the country. I just think that's normal at this point. And Utah's just back in a normal situation. They haven't, and it's a little uncomfortable because they've been in such a comfortable situation for so long because they've been beating the odds with their ability to recruit and develop. Yeah. I am also curious. Let's go to the other position groups. As we get a couple weeks into this, is there anybody emerging, a name people should remember at another position group like, whoa, watch out for this guy?
Yeah, a player that I've, in talking with him, I've had the opportunity to chat with him twice, and he's a transfer addition Utah brought in. That they actually recruited him originally out of high school a few years back. He ended up signing with Kentucky and then transferring to Akron. Cornerback Elijah Reed, I think is somebody that coming into this defensive secondary, Utah had the majority of this group pretty settled, right? With Jackson Benny, Nate Ritchie, Rabbit Evans, those guys in that safety room making that group. Scooby Davis at one outside corner spot, and then they had another guy in Rock Caldwell who they had penciled in that nickel spot. It was that other outside cornerback spot that was wide open. And so it was Elijah Reed, James Chenault, J.C. Hart really battling it out for that group. And, from what we've heard, we had the opportunity to speak with Reed, as a media group. He was really impressive. And I think he's the type that has the size at 6'2", 6'3". He's got long arms. He's in that mold of the long corners that Utah's had in the past, the Keith McGills, the Sean Smith, those types of corners that really play that sticky press man coverage, but have that athleticism to still be to still protect themselves vertically. And I think that is something that, as I've done more and more homework on these players, I feel like Reed is perfectly suited to step into that exact role. And so I think Reed is someone that, he's off the radar a little bit, but I think he is absolutely someone that will, I don't know if he's locked in the starting role right now. I don't know. I can't say for certain, but I think he's going to be a pretty big contributor for Utah this season at that cornerback spot.
Last thing before I let you go. Fred Whittingham getting sued by the university. Reading through some of the stories, I came up with to the conclusion. There's a lot of stuff in there, but I think a lot of it is noise. I think the crux of the issue is that the university feels like they're owed about $400,000 due to the terms of, essentially the buyout for him to leave his deal with 13 months left on it. I don't know Fred's side of the story, and people don't tend to comment when there's pending litigation, so I don't know that we're going to hear his side of the story. But I thought that was the crux of it from what I read. And when either he cuts the check or Michigan Booster, whatever, however that's handled, then it goes away. It did make the point in the story that with the other assistants who moved, that's already been handled. So I don't know if Fred thinks there's something different, if there's some language in his contract or whatever. What's your understanding of that, where it stands, and how you think it's going to play out?
Yeah, that is my understanding of it all. I don't have a good sense of how it's going to play out, but as you pointed out, all of the other assistant coaches, went through that process and went the right way. They went.
Well, a lawyer somewhere had his phone cut off. He was about to cross the line. Maybe it was a judge. Just knocked him out right there. And that's it. We've heard enough of Bartle. I think we see where he was going with that. All right, there's Steve Bartle talking about the Utes. When we come back, we'll hear from Kalani, Sitake, wide receiver Reggie, Frischknecht, and defensive lineman Justin Kirkland. Stay with us. Good morning, DJ and PK. It's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. It's time to go to Provo and hear from the Cougars. Let's start with head coach Kalani Sitake.
Well, good practice. We've had some good live stuff, this week, and get scrimmage tomorrow. So we're 2 weeks out from the game, and really excited about where we're at right now. I've had a really good 2-minute situation with the team at the end of practice, and I love the way the guys are working. And so it's going to be a lot of fun and playing some real football now, and seeing the guys learn and develop in the last couple weeks has been awesome, and really excited where this is headed, and we just got to take advantage of all the time that we have. What questions do you have for me?
Kalani, what was the deal with the bright blue helmets? Those are the game helmets, right?
Yeah, I think because we've been wearing the white helmets most camp, and so we got to break in the helmets, and I think it's just so they didn't want to have it the first time that they're wearing the helmet is be in the game, and so I don't know. These guys are all spoiled. They have so many different helmets and shoes and all that stuff. So when I played, it was one helmet. That was it. And so, so I think they have to just break them in a little bit and go with it. But it looks nice. I like the way the look of them. And I'm not sure what the uniform. Do we know what that is yet? Brett, do you know what it is?
I think it's royal top, white pants.
Okay. Royal top and white pants. So I'm good with it. I like those colors.
When you brought in DeMario, he was originally going to do corners, and then you moved into safeties, I think, if I'm right. What was the thinking behind that?
Well, I think just looking at the candidates that we had for safeties and corners, we knew that DeMario could coach either one. And so, and he's had, he has had head coaching experience with his time in Southern Utah. He has coordinator experience, and so really like the way that he works. And he's also best friends with General Guilford, so they're very similar in their teaching style. And we just knew that there could be some flexibility with him there, and the opportunity to get Lewis Walker and Demo was really important, and I think they're going to be really good for us this year.
Will tomorrow be your last full live stadium look like you planned halfway through?
Yeah, with a lot of the guys, we've probably already passed that. We did some live stuff this week, and I don't know if we need some of the guys to be live, but there's others that need to feel like what it's like to be tackled and break tackles, and so we'll get a look at all those guys. And then there's certain things that we need to do, as a team to get these guys to be a little bit more physical. But the majority of the guys are all ready to go. We just got to keep them. I mean, it's you develop these calluses and you get your body ready with the sparring that we do. So we I think most of the guys are ready, but there's some others that a little bit soft skin, need a little beaten up. So we'll get that done tomorrow, and then we'll be ready for the season when we get to 2 weeks away.
Yeah, once you get to next Saturday, then you're into ramp-up mode and a typical game build-up at that point.
And then we focus more on our opponents too. Midway, so a week and a half out, we're going to be focusing on Utah Tech. And right now, we're trying to get all our stuff in and figure out what's the best game plan, the strategy for week one. And so we'll just. It was a lot of work. The coaches did a great job, and we're almost there. But we'll need tomorrow, and we'll need the first 2 days next week to get ready.
When does fall camp officially close?
I think officially maybe in the middle of next week. And so, yeah, I thought the camp, I mean, the guys were way more ready than ever before, and so things were a lot easier. You could tell these guys spent a lot of time being football junkies and studying the game and studying. I mean, they did a lot of player-run meetings and player-run practices where they actually got together and took the initiative themselves to get their team ready. So a lot of the teaching, it was already done before we even got to camp, and I'm really pleased with the way they responded to it. And now we're just focusing on the technique and all the little details that can get us there.
Back in spring, Kelly Pinga noted that maybe an area that was a focus going into fall was the depth at cornerback. How do you feel about that? Guys emerging, we saw like Kevin Doe in some coverage today. Just how do you feel about the depth at cornerback after Shmev and Trey?
Yeah, and that's why we brought Jay Will here, so having him and seeing the development of K-Doe and seeing the development of Jordan Chris and Matthias Leach, those guys are coming along really nicely, and so we feel good about the depth there. Had Cannon DeVries playing some nickel for us too, and used Tommy there, so we've had a bunch of different versatile looks with the defense, and so I feel like we're in a really good spot. And there's a lot of corners that can play and a lot of DBs that can play. We have safeties that can play corner, so there's a lot of cross-training between the two positions. That's why it's important to have a lot of great communication between Demo and Coach Walker.
The linebacker position, there's so much talk about how talented that group, how deep does it go, like number-wise, that you feel confident can play in a game?
Yeah, we have a lot of guys there that can play. I mean, we're going to be able to use as many of those guys as we can, and looking at different packages to help get them all on the field at the same time. But it's one of the deepest linebacking crews I've ever been around, and a lot of talent there too. So, and that's with Glasgow and Cade leading the way, but the rest of the guys are right there. They can play. I like that group, and so K-Pop was wise to take the inside linebacking group and the outside linebackers to coach. So
there's BYU coach Kalani Sitake. Now here's defensive lineman Justin Kirkland, a senior.
It was really good. They had us out there working out every morning in the summertime, you know what I'm saying? So hanging out with the boys, getting sweaty, all that, eating right. So it was fun.
What last year you were intermittent in your playing time, right?
Yep.
Why was that, and how are you taking on a bigger role this year?
Yeah, so when I first got here from Oklahoma State, it was like my first week working out and I tore my meniscus. So just kind of battling back through that one with that injury. And then that defensive line room already had some good veteran guys, JT, Keanu, and then our young guys really stepped up really well. So it just kind of made more sense for me to get back to 100% with my knee and stuff like that, and then come back for the senior year.
So what's the total weight loss? What's the number? How much did you shed?
So last year I was weighing about 345, and this year I'm at 305. So yeah, it's been. Yeah, tell you what, shout out to my wife. She's been making chicken, avocado, really healthy stuff the whole time. Quit going to get ice cream, I was on a no fun food diet, but it worked. So
was that the toughest thing, ice cream, cutting that out?
Yeah, I'm a big ice cream guy. I actually live out in Springville, so shout out Maggleby's for their chocolate cake. It's delicious, man. But yeah, that was after I had to really limit myself to maybe one cheat meal a week. And then, I've watched the pounds just fly off. Shout out to the strength conditioning team, too. They were, yelling at me the whole time, run harder, all that stuff, too. So it was a group effort, but, yeah, once I cut out the bad calories, it was pretty easy.
So what's it like playing at 40 less pounds?
Tell you what, I feel like I can run forever. So it's been a lot of fun. And just this defense in general, like Oklahoma State, we were a true three-down front, and so it was kind of not necessarily hold blockers, but it was hold blockers so the linebackers can make plays, where here it's like, dude, let loose and go have fun. So it's been just a lot more fun. Lower pad level, being able to run farther, just stuff like that. So plus all this offensive line might be the best offensive line in the country, and they're super athletic. So I was almost like a step behind when I was 340, and now we're all just on par with each other, you know what I'm saying?
Justin, speaking of the O-line, do you know what FTP stands for?
I tell you what, I've been with those guys for months, and I still have no idea. I just throw something out, make something up, It could be like for the popcorn, like they're putting on a show, something. I have no idea, and they won't tell me. So while we're in the middle of the play, I'll try to whisper in their ear and ask, but they're pretty secretive, those boys.
Do you have a favorite tech that you like to align in? 1, 3, 0? Where do you like to be?
I like to line up where I get the double team so everybody else can get the one-on-one. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, and then when I do get the one-on-one, it's finesse moves only. So if you see a lot of spin moves, just know that's my forte.
No bull rush.
No, you would think that. You would think that, but I'm more of a side scissors kind of guy. Hit him with the bear crawl move. I just try to throw things out there, see what happens. So.
All that yoga work in the
Exactly. Yes. If you see me out there just doing some a backflip downward dog over someone, just know it was planned.
Justin, just dropping the weight, has it affected your ability to take on double teams, you feel like, at all?
I don't think so. It really luckily I was very blessed I didn't lose any strength. So I just lost a lot of the ice cream weight, and so it was really good. And then just the way his defense plays too, our linebackers, Cade, Ciale, Glasker, Jake, those boys, they're hitting the gap fast. And so our double teams, they last maybe 2 seconds max. So it's been we worry about the double teams, but we don't worry about it because it's just a hard bump and climb. And so as long as we can just stick that, it works out pretty good.
How do you feel like the defense reacted from the scrimmage on Saturday through this week? It seems like Kalani in the post-scrimmage was giving credit to all the running backs that had great days. How did the defensive line, the defensive front react to that?
I tell you what, we're a bunch of old guys, and so we all have been on teams where you get scored on. I've never seen a defense where they don't get scored on, and so having a team and a fall camp where the offense is really good and the defense is really good, it just kind of makes you look forward to the season, because if it was one-sided the whole time, it's that makes you nervous what the season looks like. And so just having the guys rally the troops and not we didn't lose composure or anything. Everybody kind of knew what we had to do, and then got everybody else on board and didn't let anybody panic or sink the boat. And we're flying around and making plays the same way. So it'll be good to get back in the stadium again tomorrow and give them a good run.
Does it mean anything to you to open against your former school, Utah Tech?
Yeah, how about that, man? Isn't that funny? Yeah, so when we played when I was at Utah Tech 2022, we played BYU, so it's kind of funny to go full circle and play those boys. It'll be fun.
Who do you like to match up against on the offensive line? Who typically gives you some fits and gives you a great look to prepare you for Big 12 play?
The All Big 12 center, Bruce Mitchell. That dude, yeah, he is phenomenal. That dude is, all of 6'4", 305 pounds. He plays with his pad levels, face mask on the ground half the time. You know what I'm saying? That dude is legit. Hard to bull rush, has a good frame, powerful. And then the problem with Bruce is he's always smiling too. And so even he'll get me a couple plays, I'll get him a couple plays, and we sit right next to each other in the locker room. And it's just all right, dude, you want to go get some lunch? You know what I'm saying? So he is a dude who on the field, he wants to kill you, but off the field, you could call him at 2 a.m. and he'd answer. So.
Is that part of the Kalani culture where you guys compete out here, but you guys love and learning in the locker room?
Yeah, for sure. And I think it just goes to in the locker room, we're all split up, so you're not with your position group, and in the team room, we're all sitting next to each other and stuff like that. And so just being able to be friends with everybody, it's it doesn't matter if Bruce is calling a DB or a DB is calling, wide receiver, everybody's friends. And obviously football, we're all competitors and stuff like that. And BYU plays a very physical brand of football, but then off the lines, it's I want to see you succeed just as much as you want to see me succeed. And so I do think that is a culture thing, and I do think the coaches do promote the lead with love very well, but at the same time, we did come here to play football, so it's a physical game.
You've been around the block
Last
a lot.
question.
I was just going to say, so many of these guys you play on the defensive side of the ball were here last year. Cade's one of the guys that wasn't. So what have you seen from Cade that's impressed you?
Hey, that dude is a dog. And I tell you what, he showed up and immediately flowed in the system perfectly. And he showed up the right way. He didn't come in and try to, he wasn't overbearing or anything like that or try to impose his ways. He just kind of came in, rode the wave, and then obviously he's a phenomenal football player, phenomenal leader. And I'm super excited that he is a Cougar this year. So.
There's senior defensive lineman Justin Kirkland. Now, let's get to the sophomore receiver, a transfer from Snow College, Reggie Frischknecht.
I'm feeling very confident. I feel like at the beginning, a lot of outside doubt, but Fessy just told us to stay confident in who we are, and so we come a long way. We're confident in ourselves and what we can do, so we're looking really good right now.
It feels like players that just want an opportunity, and it seems like all of you guys have an opportunity to take whatever playing time is available. How exciting is that for you guys?
It's very exciting. A lot of young guys like Legend and Terrence and me and Tay, we've been here a year. It's very exciting for us to be able to be an opportunity where if we compete and we show up every day and work hard that we can play a lot. You know, it's very exciting because, you know, everyone dreams about playing here at BYU, being at LaVell Edwards Stadium, so I'm excited for it.
You obviously had seen what the offense was able to do last year. I know it's just camp, but how close is it, or you guys, how much further ahead do you feel? Where is the offense, in your opinion, heading into this year?
I think we are looking very good this year. You know, spring ball just like started us because we added some new players, obviously, so that started us, and then we got here at fall camp, and I feel like every day we're showing up, we're getting better, and our offense is looking really good. You know, we're driving the ball really well, we're getting smarter with 2-minute, 4-minute drills, and overall I think we're ready, honestly.
Kalani talked about the fact that, you know, coming into this camp, obviously they're still teaching and coaching, but you know, you guys as players did so much of that on your own in the offseason that it's made their job easier. How much have you seen that help what the players, all you guys did during the offseason?
Yeah, I think the best thing is player-led, and I think I've seen a lot of that, especially in the receiver room with JoJo, being an upperclassman and pushing us every day, along with Bear, pushing the offense to be better, without necessarily the coach's help. So I think that was a big part of why we are being so successful right now.
How important was last year for you coming in here because you had this pretty incredible JUCO career over there in Snow, but just to be able to kind of come in and get used to the system, to the speed, to Division I football, that kind of thing. How big was last year for you?
I think it was very big for me. You know, coming from JUCO, Snow's a good program, but nothing like a Power 5 school. Being able to get into the program, be here for a year, figure out the defense, figure out how to read defenses, figure out the offense and how to play fast but also confident was probably the biggest thing. So I think that year of development, being able to redshirt, will put me in a good spot this year.
I'm never entirely sure what kind of the communities in rural Utah are like. So did you grow up much of a BYU fan out there in Mount Tahiti?
A little bit. I would say we were more of a Washington State fan just because that's where my dad played college, so I kind of just grew up being Washington State, but I always loved BYU. I loved just LaVell Edwards Stadium because I went to a few games when I was younger, so I think that's a big reason why I chose BYU overall.
Sorry I'm late, but what kind of kept you out last year of action? You know, you started the season, and then what kind of kept you away from playing football?
Yeah, so last year, the first few practices, the second week of practice, I actually messed up my hamstring really bad. That set me out probably for the first 4 games. And then at that point, you know, coming back was hard. Getting my lungs under me, getting the playbook back, because, you know, when you're off for that long, it's kind of hard. So we ended up just taking the red shirt and then started. My first game was the TCU game. From then it was good, but I think just injury setbacks and then getting back into the rhythm of it was the biggest thing from last year.
Where do you see yourself fitting in on this depth chart at receiver?
Pretty high, honestly. You know, right now we got JoJo and Kyler and Legend, and then I think I'm right there in the mix. If I continue to do what I can and work hard every day, I think I can get up there with a good rotation.
So did you really catch 2 TD passes in the scrimmage?
I did, yeah.
What was that like for you?
It was cool, you know. I think that was my first touchdown in LaVell Edwards Stadium, so it was way cool.
Yeah. Think it's the first of many?
I mean, I hope so, yeah. First of many, right?
Hey, you went to a smaller high school, and then not long ago you were at Weber State. What's the journey been like over the last 18 months to be here?
It's been really crazy, you know, going from Manti High School to Snow to Weber. Just kind of like the step up from smaller, and then big, and then, yeah. It's been crazy, but, you know, I feel like I learned a ton. Seeing a whole bunch of different cultures football-wise, and meeting a whole bunch of different people I loved. So it's been fun, but it was definitely a challenge, you know. Moving so fast and having to learn playbooks and meeting new people, fitting in, figuring out like where I fit in was hard, but overall, I'm happy I did it. You know, this is the place I want to be.
So what is a level 15 gymnast? And how has that helped your football career?
Level 15 gymnast. Basically, I can do any sort of like gymnastics trick. My mom owned a gym back in Ephraim, so it's actually crazy. My mom used to talk about how being a gymnast, because she's kind of the one who like made me do it. She said being a gymnast will help you with body control and like learning how to land safely. So I mean, it worked out, I guess.
What was your best event? Was it rings? Was it floor?
It was floor, yeah. Floor was my best.
So what was your best pass, your best tumbling pass?
Ooh, it's been a long time. It was like back flip, back handspring, back flip, back handspring, back handspring, back handspring, and then like a full. So that was a while ago though.
When did you quit gymnastics?
Around probably 11 years old. About.
When you reached like 6 foot?
Yeah, exactly. I got a little too tall, and my dad's like, "Yeah, time to stop." So.
How was your dad? Sorry, how was
your
your
dad?
dad?
If you get a touchdown, are you going to do a celebration?
I mean, yeah. Maybe I should do a backflip. That'd be very fitting. So, yeah.
You come from a good pedigree. Obviously, Pops played high-level football. How has he mentored you through this process? You're a small town, kind of underdog, but you had the pedigree.
Mm-hmm.
How has he mentored you to, reach your potential?
Yeah, he's done a good job. I feel like he always pushed me past like what people could see. He, like growing up in high school, I wouldn't say challenged that much, but it's just a kind of like a lower level. So he always made sure to like take me out by himself after practice and stuff and catch, do some releases, some blocking stuff. So I think just the extra work he put in with me was the biggest thing that helped me. And then he also gave me confidence to understand that I can play at a higher level. To get my mental right, and for that I'm thankful.
Yeah, did he tell you, hey, like you have the ability to play Division I football if you want to?
Yeah, he always believed in me. He said, you're big, you're strong, you're fast. I think if you put your mind to it, you'll be able to play at a high level. So thanks to him, that's why I'm here.
Is there a story behind your name, Reggie? Don't see a lot of Reggies.
I know. I don't think so, honestly. I think my parents were just like, yeah, I don't know.
You probably never heard of him.
No, I have, but don't really know much. So.
Who have you been impressed by in the receiver room? Obviously, you're on the come up. You're a rising star in the group. Who have you been impressed by?
Been impressed by a name you guys hear a lot. It's Legend Glasgow. Young kid, picked up the playbook fast, really smart. Legends one. I'm also really impressed with Terrence Sarion. He's doing well. He had a really great practice today. Younger guys are stepping up a lot, so I'm excited for them.
How much improvement have you personally seen from Bear from last year to this year in his accuracy? A-Rod said he's one of the most accurate passers he's ever coached.
Yeah, he's gotten incredible over the offseason. He's making plays that we can't even believe sometimes. He's rolling out, he's throwing it across the middle, right on the dime. So he's improved a ton, and I think he's going to be very dangerous this year, especially with our receiving core.
All right, there's wide receiver Reggie Frischknecht from BYU. We're going to take a break. When we come back, what is trending? The headlines are next.